Hello, everybody, and welcome to another great episode of the Gridiron Glory podcast. Here with Tad and Will, talking to you about all 32 teams all season long, their stories, their highlights, their struggles. So, we're here to bring you a Week 14 matchup that took place between the New Orleans Saints and the New York Giants. The New York Giants fall to 0-7 at home in this game, as they were defeated by the New Orleans Saints 14-11. As fourth string quarterback Drew Lock filled into play. I mean, really, you don't even know who the actual starter is at this point. It's really just Drew Lock filled into play. I mean, they don't really have like a named starter really, because that franchise is 2-11, 0-7 at home. So they don't even have like an actual starting quarterback. They just have guys filling in every week. And this week it was Drew Lock. So yeah, 21 of 49, 227 yards. No touchdowns. He did throw an interception. He rushed for 59 yards. He did throw a 2-point conversion at one point. So there was that. He did get a 2-point conversion. And Tad, I know this because I picked him up in fantasy. And believe it or not, I took over a team in the middle of the season who was one in I can't remember. I'd only won one game. And the guy I was playing needed to make the playoffs, and I picked up Drew Lock, and I scored a good amount of points with Drew Lock in order to get this win. So as far as that went, I wasn't like, okay, from like that. He had a pretty mid fantasy performance, but it worked out for me. And you know this because we're in that same league. So, but yeah, when it comes to the Saints, I mean, yeah, and listen, the 2-point conversion and all that was in garbage time. The Saints pretty much had control of this game. Just this is a disaster for the New York Giants, is it not? I mean, I'm serious. I feel so sorry for fans. But yeah, you got guys on the defense side of the ball for the Saints like Kalen Sanders, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Four solo tackles for Kool-Aid. Talking about Kool-Aid McKinstry for a second. He is the rookie out of Alabama. Only 22 solo tackles and 5 PDs. Honestly, Todd, I thought Kool-Aid McKinstry was going to have more of a hype season so far. But he's still a young and developing CB and trying to find himself.
Yeah, I think he'll do fine. I think he's gonna have a fine career, but we'll see. I mean, he's a player that, like you said, he's in his first year. And I mean, he's still getting his feet wet and all that. He can grow into a player that's going to get a lot more experience. And at this point, I mean, he's starting as a rookie, and I think that speaks volumes to where he is, anyways. So that's a lot of credit there. And I mean, they've got some good players in this defense. I mean, you look at Demario Davis with his 8 tackles, 2 deflections, and obviously the key interception in the game as well that helped keep the momentum on the Saints side. I mean, it was his first interception of the year. So a big moment there. He's actually a linebacker, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, for the Saints, a good win, right? But, Ted, I mean, the Giants, it's bad. Giants. It is so bad. Like, Ted, they're doing worse than the Panthers.
They're doing worse than the Panthers. I mean, but I will say one thing for the Giants. At least they seem to have an idea of what they need to do now, and that's completely tank. I mean, you've cut ties with Daniel Jones. I mean, at one point you were hoping he could prove himself as a franchise quarterback. That obviously never happened in New York.
Yeah. And yeah, we've taken a break. I mean, we took a break last week, but obviously back this week, we didn't really talk much on that Daniel Jones to Minnesota. You being a Vikings fan, Tad, what is your take publicly on Daniel Jones being a Viking now?
I mean, I think it speaks on volumes to Daniel Jones' opinion of Kevin O'Connell. I mean, you see what Kevin O'Connell's done resurrecting the career for Sam Darnold, and Daniel Jones is so hoping that he can have a similar turnaround, I'm sure. So that's probably best for him. But at this point, I mean, looking more at the Giants, I mean, they've cut ties with him, and now they have a chance for the first time in like 5 years to have an actual plan, which is to like rebuild the franchise. And they've kind of just been, I don't want to say tied down to Daniel Jones, but they really have been. They've been tied to his contract. And now that that's gone and you can just think about what to do moving forward, I mean, that's just, they have a chance to move forward for the first time.
Yeah, yeah. So, the Giants, they have given up on this season.
Yeah.
And they're on to next year. So,
on to the draft, really. I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to. Can you identify a quarterback of the future? Obviously, they don't have the quarterback of the future on the roster.
Meanwhile, the rest of these guys are mainly just collecting a paycheck. Guys like Tyrone Tracy, he's still going out there and doing the job he's getting paid to do. Am I right?
Sure.
16 carries, 45 yards, a touchdown. Let's talk about Tyrone Tracy Jr. Yeah, the rookie out of Purdue. And listen, Tad, you talk about the draft, you talk about a rebuild. Tad, if the Giants truly want to rebuild, he's going to have to be a key part of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they don't have some pieces. I mean, Tracy's a piece. Obviously, Malik Neighbors, their top draft pick from this year. Once you get him a real quarterback, I think the numbers could be really impressive. So, I mean, like I said, they have some pieces. Kayvon Thibodeau on defense. It's not like they have no pieces, but it's gonna take a committed rebuild if you want to be competitive anytime soon. So you're just gonna have to realize that and commit to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for the Saints, Derek Carr going out there doing his thing. It's good to have their starting quarterback back. Alvin Kamara, kind of not a super flashy game. But Kendre Miller, though, I want to kind of talk about Kendre Miller for a second because, the second-year pro out of TCU, 19 carries, 84 yards, and a touchdown. I'd say Kendre Miller is a pretty solid RB2 on this squad.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd say he's the guy that's being suited to be the running back of the future, potentially. I mean, Alvin Kamara, obviously. Yeah, he's not getting any younger, obviously. He's getting up there. And, I mean, you'd question how much longer he can continue to be effective. I mean, he's in his age 29 year. And, I mean, generally running backs, when you get around 30 is when you start questioning if they start to decline and what's going to happen there. So I think Miller, he has a chance to take a step forward and be the running back of the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just learn from a guy like Alvin Kamara, and because, the running back life in the NFL, I'd say is like, I mean, after like 30, it's like, you start, it's really season by season after that. I mean, really, most running backs, like the prime, I'd say like the prime for running backs is like age 23 to 27.
Yeah, probably fair.
Yeah, some of the prolific running backs. But I mean, Derrick Henry, he's one of one. How old is Saquon?
He's got to be getting up there a bit too, I'd say. He's definitely not getting any younger either.
But even Saquon is one of one, so just two one of one guys.
Definitely one of one there. Looking at Saquon Barkley, he is 27, so he's like kind of towards the bottom half of his prime.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you wouldn't expect these running backs to keep producing these numbers well into their 30s, and not a lot do. I mean, what Derrick Henry's doing in his age 30 season is incredible.
Right.
But
so yeah, I mean, that's just I mean, it's kind of like a LeBron James type of vibe there. So
sure.
So Saints win 14-11. Next week the Giants will play the Baltimore Ravens at home. really, you got to figure that's going to be more of a scrimmage for the Ravens, Dad.
It's the NFL. Anything can happen.
I mean, anything can happen, Dad. But I mean, my beloved Broncos got smoked by the Ravens. Third, to be honest with you, I kind of wouldn't expect anything last year in the Meadowlands. So, good luck
We
to
shall
you
see.
Giants. I mean, you got Drew Luck. You got Drew Lock versus Lamar Jackson. Boy, should be a doozy.
If they start Drew Lock, you never know. It seems sometimes like they're just picking names out of a hat for who's going to be there. Tommy DeVito potentially.
Right.
Maybe they'll put Tyrone Tracy at quarterback. Just try something new. You never know.
Honestly, give Tyrone Tracy a shot at this point. I mean, why not? I mean, what do you have to lose if you're the Giants at this point? Literally. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole goal. I feel like is for them to lose at this point. I feel like they are tentatively trying to lose. They are on to the draft. It's just, it's sad.
Let's be real with the Giants. They don't really have to try to lose. That just happens naturally. But yeah, looking at the Saints, they'll be hosting the Commanders, and that's a big game for the Commanders trying to stay in the playoffs, and then the Saints seeing if they can keep the momentum rolling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's going to be for the Saints to see if they can keep the momentum rolling, and then yeah, so and then yeah, for the Commanders, that'll be a good game there, a good NFC game. So yeah, Saints win 14-11. I didn't really have any other final thoughts or takes on the game.
Me neither.
All right. Yeah. Saints win 14-11. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow all season long. This is the Gridiron Glory.